Wow, that's terrible. That's crazy.
Man, like I wanted to kill them so bad, you can't imagine.
You're not rocking with the best.
Late Night Luke.
All right, so welcome to Late Night Luke number 3. We're here with Showtek, with Daniel Avila. Daniel Avila. I'm reading Daniel here on the feed, Daniel Avila. And so it's so strange because I was like, who's Ruben? Is that Danny's manager coming on here? But no, that's Ruben. It's Kura. Welcome, you guys. So good to see you. Thank you for showing up. This is going to be a very fun episode.
Yeah.
And we're gonna tackle a few things, but I have a ton of fun lined up for you guys. So first of all, what I always do is I link the connections to everyone. So like Danny, I heard a specific story about you, how you broke through. Oh, hey, look at the mug.
There we go.
What does it say? I can't even read it.
The Late Night Luke logo.
I want a copy.
Actually, all of you are receiving one of these because you've been in the show. So
That's great. That's great.
But I heard your story is you got discovered by Fedde Legrand, right, Danny?
Yes, sir. Yeah, when I was, I think I was about 15 or 16, and I was his biggest fan at that point. You know, I used to go to the club. He used to play in Marbella, where I used to live, and I used to write his name on my arms. I used to be like a really, really big fan of Fedde. And funny enough, we had the same manager for 8 years when he signed me. So he pretty much discovered me, a while ago in Marbella, and then he pretty much inserted me in the agency that he was at that time.
And when was that? I just want to hear. When was that?
Marbella, in the south of Spain.
No, I know, but when? What time? What year was that?
I'm 25 now, so that was when I was like 14, I would say, 15.
Ah, okay, cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, man. So that's
I think I saw one of your shows very early on. I think you did a support set also for Thijs in Ibiza. I think that's the first time I saw you playing, and that was 2014 or 15.
Oh, yeah, around that. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
That was a Pasha, right?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
So I see you have a ton of tattoos. Now I just want to see the Fedde Legrand tattoo you have then.
I should get one, man. I should get one. I'm getting so many, man. I should start getting your names too, man.
Be amazing. So Kura, you had a different story. We told this story once, but for me, in my memory, the first time I met you was at some show in Thailand. And I remember just being in the green room and thinking, who is this guy playing all the hits in front of me? And I was like, who is it? And so that was the first time I met you. But apparently we have a different story, right?
Yeah, we met. The first time was in Portugal. I opened for you at a actually crazy show. It was like a college student party. And at the time I played with it's not Serato, the other brand. I don't remember the computer. Tractor, yeah, that one. And it was a big confusion because you played with the normal, normal setup, and the guy, the technician, didn't know how to set up everything. There was a big brawl in there, and but it was a huge party. And then you started, and then you were one of the first guys that did the loop, the changing tempo of the loop, and we were like, whoa. That was like 2008 or something like that.
Wow.
Or 2009. Something. It was a long time ago. So
we're going way back here, guys.
We're old.
It was before the beard, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. And so you too, Sjoerd. I just remember meeting you guys at an airport, like we were standing in line just speaking Dutch. Pretty much. And
that's pretty much the connection you have with any Dutch person when you are at the airport and you immediately hear them speaking Dutch.
Yeah, that's right.
When was this, Luke?
This was way before you guys started making EDM, I think. I remember
the
possibly
hardstyle era.
Yeah, but maybe possibly W and W were in the same line and we were just chatting and I was like, oh, that's cool, like Dutch DJs and producers type of deal. And I remember you just started working with Tiesto on the Maximal Crazy track and whatnot.
Oh yeah, but that was when was that? Was it also 2012? I think 2011, 12.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. It's funny to hear Danny speak about also Feta because I think Feta was the first DJ that I heard playing our song in a club. So I was like 16, 17 years old and I was not allowed to go to clubs. But I was making music already when I was 14, 15. And I back then, you just gave your CD to as many people as possible, like record labels, DJs and whatever. And he was playing in a club called Tracé in Eindhoven, so in a very, very small club. And I used to go out there and he was DJing there and I gave him the CD and he said, cool, thanks. And his feedback was like any other DJ. And I understand now, like, yeah, I'm busy. Thank you. I'll let you know, But back then I was like waiting like a puppy, like to see what his response would be.
Wow.
But then a few weeks later, I went to the club called Dansalon. You must remember Dansalon, Luke.
Yes.
One of the biggest clubs in the Netherlands in Eindhoven. And I was actually on TMF back then.
Wow.
And then I went out to go. I was 70 years old, came in, whatever. And then I was getting a drink at the bar and I heard this loop coming in. And I said, hey, I recognize the song. And then Feta dropped the record for the first time when I was in the club. And then I saw everybody going crazy, giving like a good feedback to the song. And I was like, okay, this is cool, So Feta was the first DJ who I started playing a track without even releasing anything beforehand. It was cool.
Do you remember when that was, bro?
That wasn't even called Showtek. That was called W&S Project. It was in my... I have to look it up. It wasn't even called Showtek. And the song was released eventually. But it was called W&S, like Water and Sure. It wasn't even Showtek. So that was 1999, 2000.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just got goosebumps for you listening to that story. And you know what? That's an amazing subject. How about we talk about that? Like, Kura, when was the first time you heard someone else play your track? And where was it?
At, a recognizable level, it was like I was driving in I was, the back seat of my girlfriend's car. We were listening to a radio show here. It was a radio called Mix FM, and Roger Sanchez was playing.
Wow.
Remember that? It was huge.
Yeah.
And he used to play all kinds of house music, not only like the harder stuff, but all the good stuff was there. And then he starts to play a track of mine called Brazil. It was like kind of a Afro techie track, and I didn't even know because I didn't send the track. So it was the label at the time. It was Matic Soul's label.
Massive, yeah. Shout out.
For me, it was like, I was crazy. I was like, no, he's playing my song. Why? How? And it was big for me because I at the time I had no pretension of being a touring DJ or living off of music. It was just purely for fun. So it was huge. Yeah.
It's amazing. What about you, Danny?
I think for me, the first time I was very young, man. I think I was 16 and I was in the middle of my first tour in America. And I went to Sirius XM, I remember. And on the way to Sirius XM to do a couple interviews, I heard my song on the radio. And it was actually like one of the first songs that I signed to like a decent label, I would say. Signed it to Big Beat in America, in New York. And I remember I was on the way to do a couple interviews and I heard on the radio, I'm like, all right, I like this. It was a good feeling, man.
Yeah, well, it's because it's an unreal feeling. Like before this, you're just like working in your studio and it's like, oh, you don't even think about other people playing your music. And I remember my first time, and okay, guys, I'm really old, right? So this was in 1997 in Utrecht in the Jaarbeurs. There used to be big parties, like 20,000, 30,000 people. Dance music was big in the Netherlands already. And I specifically went to see my favorite DJ back then there, which is DJ Remy. Shout out DJ Remy, Dutch legend. And I just remember walking into that huge hall with my girlfriend And I'm like, wait a second. And he was playing my newest track. This must have been like my third release. And just in that hall and seeing all those people, I was like, this just came out of my computer like 2 months ago, and now all these people are partying to it. So
That's amazing.
awesome.
That's a nice story. And it's funny. I mean, for us, like for me a while there, and we never had the ambition to become even a DJ. Like I think we made music for 5-6 years, even before thinking about DJing. And I remember, because we made house music first, like techno house, and then we just jumped into this Gary D trance. Gary D, was like up-tempo hard trance, and then it became like the early hardstyle stuff. And then I think I went to Shockers in 2003, a big festival.
Wow, yeah.
And then I heard people playing our stuff, and then went to Sensation, and then I saw DJ Luna. You remember DJ Luna, big hardstyle DJ, and this was the moment that changed my life. Was like he was playing our song, and all respect to DJ Luna, of course, but he had his hands up in the air, and he was going crazy, and everybody was going crazy. Like, wait, if he can do that, then I can do that too. So that's how I thought. Wait, I need to be standing there. That's my song. I want to play all my own music. And that was my realization, like, wait, maybe I could bring my music also to a stage where I perform the music as a DJ or an artist. And that was where the ambition came. But that came like maybe 5-6 years later after making music, that it was possible to do that. So I think it was 2003 or 4. So it's always fun to hear your music by somebody playing it. But then I think everybody wants to be that person himself or herself playing it, I think.
Totally. I also think, bro, there's nothing like hearing your songs being played for the first time, right? Like right now when they play, I mean, it's great, when you hear your songs around, but when you're just starting, you're a kind of amateur and you're working in the studio, you're that kind of bedroom producer, then you hear your songs for the first time, can't really compare it to, any other time, right?
No, true. I mean, I think it's always, as an artist, I think it's always nice if other people play your music, because it means that, to me, like if you make music, you always make it for yourself because you're an artist. If you paint or make music and you create something, it comes out of your brain or your creativity. So it's your production, but it does bring some value to the table when other people show appreciation, So of course, and even nowadays, even if I make a track right now and I see somebody playing it, I'm still like humbled by the fact that people play it, because it doesn't matter what level you are. I think it's some kind of satisfaction you always like to hear if anybody plays your song. And it doesn't matter, sometimes bigger or smaller artists playing it, but I think you should always have that kind of feel to always stay humble as well, and always to get the satisfaction of the people like your stuff. It's still a nice way of people, to feel that vibe. So
Totally, man.
I want to share with you the story of how I met David Guetta for the first time. This was probably early 2010 or something. Yeah, something like that. There were big techno parades in the heart of Paris, where we were on a truck, we were DJing. I was invited by Joachim Garraud to be on there, and David Guetta was on the truck as well. And I was DJing, and the crowd was going crazy, and I dropped my new track, which was Steve Angelo and mine track called B. And I was playing it, and the people knew it, and they were going crazy. And all of a sudden, I get a tap on my shoulder, and it's David Guetta, and he's kind of like, "Bro, like you're doing a great job, but I really don't appreciate you playing this track in front of me, before me." I was like, "Oh, wait, why?" He's like, "You don't realize this is the biggest track I'm playing at the moment. I'm on next to you, after you, so yeah, this kind of sucks." And I'm like, "But I made the track," and he saw his mind going like, and he was like, "Wait, are you Laidback, Luke?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
oh my
dude.
God, that's amazing. That's really cool.
So that was awesome. He played it again, and it was fine.
When did B come out? How long ago?
Well, what was it? 2009, something like that. Yeah.
I remember when it came out, man. I was like, damn.
Which festival was it in Paris? I'm curious. What festival was it?
The Techno parade in Paris.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
And actually, I wanted to touch base upon that because I heard Kura just saying tech house now. Sjoerd has a techno background. Danny, you're in Spain, and techno is huge over there. And so I think it's interesting, Sjoerd. I actually didn't know that you guys had techno roots.
Do you know our project name, our techno project name? And we released several tracks under it. It's called Unibass, UNIBASS. And I think we released 2 or 3 songs. It was all more like the Shockers, the big rave in Amsterdam Rai. That really inspired me. And I think I went to a festival. Marco Bailey was playing a 3-hour DJ set, and I just went ballistic. Just the fact, the percussion and the hi-hats and stuff, and it's like, what is this? It was all new to me because I was going to Tracé, 150 people, little club in Eindhoven playing the popular tracks, and then I went to this rave. It was all underground music, and I went for 11 hours. I didn't leave the room. 11 hours. It's like the techno train, And then I literally took the train back home at the first train in the morning at 10:30 a.m. back to Eindhoven. I went to the train. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I got his DJ set live. I think it was back then on Napster. I found the set, listened to it, sampling every hi-hat I could sample, every little beat. And then that's like how I started. So, and then Walter was always playing the keys. So before Showtek, we were like doing like dark kind of underground techno stuff. It was called Unibass. We had like 2 or 3 songs. And then we released that. We realized that it was cool, but we could do more and stuff, more melodic. But that was the foundation of my brother and me making music.
That's incredible. Because during quarantine, I'm actually on the verge of rolling out my techno alias, and I've been making that. And it's funny because I don't really connect with the techno nowadays, but I have such a big heart for exactly the Marco Bailey type of techno you are talking about. And I've been making that type of stuff, and we're gonna roll out soon. I'm quite excited about it.
You have to send me. I really want to, because I can definitely listen to it.
I think you'll enjoy that for sure.
Okay, that's cool.
You played that sound way before the whole pandemic stuff. You played a couple of shows where you played that sound too, right?
Yeah. I've always had a big heart for techno, and it kind of balances out the EDM for me, where it's exactly like Sjoerd just said, where it's like you have all the hits, but then sometimes you want purely underground. And as a DJ, if I play techno, I don't do any requests. I don't even necessarily look at the crowd. It's just, I just play whatever I want. And it's so nice.
Exactly. I mean, techno.
But I think also sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Go ahead, bro.
No, I want to say what I like about the techno scene and underground is that it brings you back to an era, even in the 70s and 80s, when guitarists and drummers had their own solo in a song, and a song could easily be 7, 8, 9 minutes, and the crowd would appreciate that 1 minute solo of just a drummer like going crazy, or the guitarist playing. And that's what kind of missing in music right now. The express, like, people just turn the page really real quick, right? If you release a song on Spotify, the label says, 2 minutes 45 is the max, then over 3 minutes, let's try not to do it. Well, in techno, you don't have that rule. It's like you can make a build up from 4 minutes and then drop with a hi-hat, and people are like, it could be a massive drop. And that's kind of what I like about the essence of that part of music, or music in general, is that you can take time to really experience a song, and it's about so many more aspects in music than just the drop that needs to build up within 2 bars. Otherwise, people are bored. And that's what I really appreciate about music. Doesn't mean I'm talking bad about the actual EDM or even stuff that we're doing, but that's an aspect I really like about music in general, I guess.
I mean, I kind of grew up with it because in Spain it's been very strong for a very long time. What about in Portugal, Kura?
We had a lot of kind of illegal raves with that kind of sound. I think you guys are referring to the fast techno, like 150, 140 BPM, like really garage style, really harsh.
I'm looking a little bit kind of like the underground scene, at least in Spain. I think the regular underground stuff doesn't really matter if it's more techie or more darky or more techno, whatever. It's been very, very big in Spain. I would say even bigger than EDM, except for the peak of the EDM era. I would kind of put that on the side. But I kind of grew up with it because it's very big here, you know. So I'm 25 now. I've been DJing for about 10, 11 years. So before I started playing a little bit more the commercial sound, I started actually DJing more techie stuff, where when Roger Sanchez was like on top, and the early Axwell and Steve and all that stuff, which was great music, man, back then, you know. So I think everyone evolved and everyone kind of, you know, went through a lot of different journeys. But in my particular case, I really learn a lot from the actual market in Spain, you know, because it's very big here. So for sure, man.
Is it appropriate to give Wally Lopez a shout out here?
Also,
Yeah. So then my question, and this for you first, Kura. With the lack of festival season right now, with the lack of club life right now, has this affected the style of music you are making currently?
oh, completely. Even yesterday, I had a friend of mine who produces for like pop artists, like Latin stuff, and he does a lot of ghost production for like singers and stuff like that. And he was here, and we made like a tribal tech track, like kind of a Black Coffee versus
Ooh.
weird style. So, you know, just going back to the roots of just making music purely for fun, for what I like, what I vibe with, not worried about is this going to do good on the charts or Spotify or the festival. Just let's make good music, you know. So definitely changed the perspective. Of course, I'm not going to be lying. I'm not as productive as I was before, like in the studio, because you don't feel the same motivation at times. Because also we made music for the dance floor and we want to try it out and stuff like that. But I'm still, of course, busy and but making whatever I feel at the moment, not worried about any type of influence out there. Yeah.
Can I ask you something? What does motivate you right now? Then I'm curious.
In terms of career wise, I know we're gonna get through this eventually. I don't know if it's gonna be in 1 year or 2 or 6 months. I hope as fast as possible. But I'm just that type of person who likes to minimize the negative side of things. We have to think positive. There's no other way. Otherwise, we're gonna be frustrated and like depressed. And I'm not that type of guy. I just go with the flow and minimize it. And what motivates me, it's like I know we still have a lot to conquer in terms of dance music, and it's still going to be here for many, many years. And we as artists, I think all of us that are here have so much to contribute to the music scene and to our careers that, you know, but of course, I'm not going to be lying. I'm not as productive in the studio like every day or every 2 days. Maybe I'll go once a week, just take more time to finish a track, maybe 1 month to finish a track. Back then I used to do it in 1 week. There's no rush, right? So just enjoy it.
But don't you also think this might be a good thing? Because the pressure and the fast lane life you're always in also gives you the feeling that I'm back on Monday after a show, you need to go back because you are like feeling that pressure. But I'm not saying that pressure is always good. I do feel pressure is healthy to push you forward. But I do feel that for me personally, I'm more personally connected to myself lately, like way, like 500% more than I used to be. And that motivates me to, if I go to the studio or do something, I do it 500 times better. Where I sometimes go to the studio for 5-6 days in a row, and I'm not as focused or clear-minded as I used to be, because I always feel like something needs to happen. Where now, if you don't go to the studio for 4 days and you enjoy, I don't know, a frog in the lake, whatever, something really stupid, that you come back and you're so like, you know, the hours you spend to work are more valuable. So I don't feel, maybe you feel even less productive. It doesn't mean you're doing less good. So that's how I see it. I look at things at this point.
True. I agree.
Danny, I had and we're gonna get into the fun part, guys. Bear with me, but I had a question. Lemmy Music. He is asking Danny Avila, how do you deliver so much energy on stage? And he says, do you have to act sometimes when you are tired? And so obviously without any shows, you're left without the performance, right? How are you dealing with that?
A couple of Red Bulls before the show. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I mean, it comes out naturally, man. Really depends on the show. You know, there are shows that just brings a lot of energy, and I just kind of like vibe it back to the crowd. Just shows where the energy is more normal, and I go with the flow pretty much. You know, there's no really like there's something that I always do or force or act. You know, I just act natural, and you know, if I'm enjoying the show and the vibe and the energy of the crowd, I think it comes out naturally. You know.
I just wanted to ask you because, there's introverted and extroverted people. Usually, producers are introverted. I had a very hard time trying to, get myself out on stage where I grew up, I was very much into acting actually. So I can act it out, but it was never really natural to do it on stage other than when I started drinking and getting, in party mode. And then that stuck when I stopped drinking. I was like, whoa, wait, but I have all this fun left in me. And it's interesting. So I could say that you're an extrovert then, Danny. You have no problem.
I would say so, man. I would say so. I mean, like I said, I have no problem really just doing my thing on stage. Of course, sometimes I have to do a little bit my thing. So I would maybe, I don't want to say fake or act, but of course you have to deliver something that you want to give to the fans and to the crowd and all that stuff, but it's not something that I fake or I make a big effort doing,
Sure, you are the party starter in Showtek, right? You're the guy that's always getting the crowd going. So how is that with you?
Yeah.
Say you are super tired and it's like, I can't right now. How do you switch that?
Well, it's like really funny because before I go on stage, people ask me like, "Are you okay? You look very bored. Are you Are you even excited for the show?" And for me, like even my wife, like my fiance, is still like before the show, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like I already want to talk to the set through the water. Like, okay, which songs we want to play, what we're gonna do, and we always leave 30-40% up to what's actually happening during the show. So we don't really want to prepare the set in that much either, which also gives you more room to give a natural response to the crowd. So before the set, I normally go back to minus 100. So I don't speak to anybody, and I'm also not drinking anymore. I used to drink way more often, but I found a way to really enjoy my shows without any alcohol. I'm not saying I never drink anything, but during shows, I perform better and I have a higher energy level without alcohol. And for me, the way to do it is go totally back to minus 100. And then when I go on stage, I'll just give a full 100%. And then afterwards, I try to like really calm down and, really go back to that minus 100 again to go back to zero.
Right after.
Yeah. So that's how I do it.
Yeah, for me as well. It's like a mental switch. Me too. It's the amount of people you come across backstage and they're like, okay, so are you ready? And I'm like, yeah. You feel like partying? And I'm like, yeah. And then when you walk up stage or like put your headphones on, it's like, yeah, let's do it now. And then you come off of the stage and all these people wanting to talk to you. And Danny, you just said it. And it's like, then it's like over. You're back to like, I'm normal again. And
So Danny, can I ask you something? Because I've seen you performing and you're a very energetic person. Do you still have that energy now, even while you're not performing? Or do you do other stuff to get rid of that energy? Because that's what I found. Like I have still a lot of energy built up. So I went to doing more like extreme workouts and doing like stuff to get rid of that energy, because it's something that you hold into yourself. I think with performing, I just keep that for the performance. So how do you get rid of that energy, or how do you do that?
The thing is, I used to do extreme sports when I was younger. So I used to compete on wakeboarding professionally for about 3-4 years. So I'm kind of like a very active guy. I love doing sports and doing snowboard and all that kind of stuff. So when I kind of like quit doing that and I started DJing and touring, I kind of found that on just working out pretty much. I try to work out quite often, especially when I'm on tour. Even though it's tough, you guys know that, Luke, and everyone, you guys know how tough it is to work out on the road. But I try to do that, man. I try
Kura.
The boss. So, I try to do that, man. I try to, get the energy out, working out and doing that frequently, I would say.
That's awesome. So let me dive into the fun stuff here. Let me ask you guys if you have all your pieces of paper ready.
Oh yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, because we did a poll online and it's so awesome. People love interacting with these. Last time on the Late Night Luke show, we had 18,000 votes. Now we had lesser questions, and the votes were still 7,000 votes. So these are questions, and then for you to put the name up, you should let me know what you think the crowd answered. So, most likely to go over the top with a prank. So what did the crowd answer? Who is most likely to go over the top with a prank? Oh, Danny! Is that because he's the youngest? Okay, so the answer is first place. Oh no, I should not do first place first, right? Fourth place, Kura. Third place, me. Second, Danny. And then first, Showtek. People think that Showtek is up for a prank. Maybe it's the beard. What's up?
Now, well, I do feel that we prank each other a lot though, but we don't really show it like that much to the outside world. We do it very in our circle. But I felt Danny because I've seen what he's doing, and he's a very energetic guy, and he's like, he looks a little like a fun guy to like, not a boring kind of person. So, but Danny,
So then, Danny, you must have some amazing stories to tell us. What's your most awesome prank?
Well, I can tell one that is quite funny. So I did 2 weeks in Taiwan, like 3 weeks ago. Did a couple of shows there. So to be able to play the shows there, you had to do the test, right? Your nose and all that stuff. So I did the test, and I do actually the blood test as well, right before I went to play the shows over there. And I had to do quarantine as well, right? So my two friends that live with me in my house, they did a pretty hardcore prank, and they called a YouTuber pretending that he was the main guy from the clinic place, right? Saying that my tests were actually positive when they were negative, right? So there's actually the prank on YouTube. I'll send you guys so you can watch it, because my reaction is pretty damn funny. So I think it's better that everyone watches on the video, because holy shit, man, that was next level for me, man.
Oh, that's terrible. That's crazy.
Man, like I wanted to kill them so bad, you can't imagine. Like I did the 2 tests and everything was on point, the paperwork to be able to play the shows after all this nightmare. And then when the day before I had to take my flight to Taiwan, boom, Yeah, man. Pretty intense for me, man.
That's wild. Okay. Kura, do you have a prank story for us?
And normally I tend to prank my tour managers because they're always like one of my best friends for a long time. So we have they do it back to me also. So we don't have like a tour manager relationship, like artist tour manager. We have like a friendly relationship. So what I do normally is I offer myself to take care of the food. So I go like to Taco Bell and I bring the food. So I have total control of what I can do with the food. So what I normally do, and they go like, no, don't worry. No. I say, no, don't worry. I'll go, no problem. So normally what I do is I put extra spicy, extra double spicy stuff on the quesadillas and on stuff like that. And I go there and I'm slowly watching them eat, and they were like, whoa. And is yours like that? And I say, yeah, super spicy, man. And so stuff like that during like breakfast, 7 a.m. when we go to Asian, we're like totally fucked up. I used to put Tabasco on the food, and I'm always trying to do those kind of pranks.
I do the same thing, bro. When I cook chicken wings in my place, there's always a magic one hidden,
Yeah.
Magic chicken.
They go crazy.
Oh,
That's good.
Well, and it's twofold, right? Because it's hot when it comes in, but it's hot when it
Comes out.
I don't know about that.
Okay, second question. So, who is most likely to own a bar? What did the crowd say? A bar.
Can I show it up? Can I put it up?
Yeah, go ahead. Interesting. And you, Kura? Sure. Okay, number
Why is that,
4.
guys? I really want to know why that is.
Me too. Number 4 is Danny. Number 3 is me. Number 2 is Kura. And indeed, number 1, Showtek. Sure. What kind of bar would you open?
I have no idea. First of all, I rarely drink. Like if it's 4 times a year, that's it maybe. Mostly for a cheers moment, and maybe when it's a special occasion. But I have nothing. I have no like. I don't love like alcohol or anything like that. I love like a good wine or a beer here and there, but I have no. Maybe it's the beard and the rough look, and maybe people think I'm like half Viking, half Irish, and I drink a lot. But no, it's not. It's not in my nature or my culture actually. No. So I want to know why these guys.
It's not on your to-do list, right?
Huh?
It's not on your to-do list, right?
No. No.
So yeah, then Kura and Danny. Why did you say Showtek? Is it the Harley look?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that rough, rough rider look,
I agree with him, bro.
Okay,
in a good way, not like a I love alcohol way, something cool,
yeah. So maybe I do have a huge love for cooking healthy food and stuff, and I'm really into like a healthy lifestyle. It's most people don't really think about it when they see me. They think, my dad has a big beard, big guy, same size, and when we go out, people think we're like, we have motorcycles and we just think we're tough boys. But actually, I'm super into living healthy and making healthy food. So I always said after I stopped making music and I stopped producing, I mean, I never will stop making music, but when time is right and when I stop performing, I definitely want to do something that is like health minded, and I could even like I have a lot of dreams for after the DJ career. So and that's that goes into like. Along with how I live now, and then I want to bring that to the table literally later on, but not now.
So then possibly a restaurant before a bar.
Well, I'll try to keep it very short. I'm very much into like I love animals. I live a plant-based diet because more of like how I love animals so much that I don't, and that's my personal. So I'm not trying to object to any other lifestyle, or I don't want to force it to anybody. But I love animals so much that I don't think I have the right to take a life from somebody or an animal to feed myself. Like I know there's if you teach yourself what the possibilities are, there are a lot of good options to live a healthy lifestyle without hurting animals. That's how I feel personally. So I want to carry it on later on. And so right now, I'm just doing it to be healthy, to feel good. And it works for me for the last 4 years now. And it works really well. And I eventually love to have like a sanctuary where I save, animals that were saved from slaughterhouses or hurt. And maybe just, try to do something that's totally different. A part of me that I don't really show often to people. But I'm very close to nature and I love like healthy stuff. Like I even make my own milk, so I don't even go buy milk or anything. I just make milk from nuts and oats and walnuts. And that's how I try to live a healthy lifestyle when I'm not touring and doing all that stuff that's heavy for my body. So, yeah.
Okay.
Very different.
So
another bar, a milk bar.
so the beard is actually a guru beard, not, a Harley Davidson beard.
Do you know why I have the beard? You want to have the story behind the beard?
Yes,
my fiance said like you have no chin. Like where's your chin? Maybe you should grow a beard. And my father has a really epic beard. I will send you a picture afterwards. He's the most epic beard ever. So and you see my father, she's like, well, if your father has that nice facial hair, why don't you try it? And since I've grown it, I mean, I gotta trim it here and there because it grows really fast, and I look like a bushman sometimes. But if I take care of it, I think it looks nice on me. So I start growing it to give myself a little bit of a longer face. And that's and it worked out great.
Man, I have that problem too. I have no chin, but I have no beard hair either. So I'm just screwed.
No, you look good. Don't worry.
Hey, Kura, so would this be an idea for you to ever start a gym then?
Actually, one of my best friends is opening a gym. They're building it, with all his knowledge of the machines. He's bringing a whole new approach to the normal gym that we know. Like with the machines, they're like custom made by the guys that do the mountain dog training. You know, John Meadows. So he made a couple of machines that are completely different from what we see in the regular gyms. They're making like a super complex here in Portugal, which is something never seen before. As for me, I don't have the knowledge to make something like that. I could be a partner, like an investor, because I love it. But other than that, I actually don't have the knowledge to deliver a proper gym. I just work out because I love it, and I can't get away from it right now at this point of my life because I don't want to look like I used to, because I didn't like it. And it's part of me right now. It's something that you cannot take away. Yeah.
For sure. I think for me, one of my big dreams is to open up a Kung Fu school, obviously. But then, because I have students online right now all over the world, which is great. But to actually have a physical building and to be able to go in there and teach everyone in person, it would be nice. Yeah.
How long have you been practicing, Luke? Because since the day I met you, you've always been training. Like when I met you in a hotel, you were like up early with your teacher who was with you traveling, who was also your tour manager, correct?
That's
I
right.
remember we were in Barcelona in a club. I think you played after us. And then it was on the beach. Maybe, I'm not sure what the club is again. It's on the beach in the Barcelona Strip. I don't know what it was. Opium, yeah. And you played after us, and you played a really crazy set, and we were like partying hard. And then you went after the set, you left, and then I was, I think, still up the next morning, and you're already up from your sleep practicing your kung fu and your and with your teacher. It's like, wow, what this guy's motivated. So do you still do that?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So I've been training for over 20 years, and 3 years ago I got the title Sifu, which is sensei in Kung Fu. So I became a teacher, and I'm still doing it. I actually need to tell you a funny story about Ibiza, where I was invited by Dimitri Vegas and like Mike to come and play at their party. And they always have such a big crowd of people behind them on stage. And the Tomorrowland crew was there, and Christoph from Tomorrowland, he was trying to get me drunk. He was like, have shots with us, and here, drink this and drink that. And I actually couldn't because it was, 3 days out of me competing in the World Championships. And I had to finish off training early in the morning, and I was like, no, I can't. And then I left. And I've had several points, for instance, in Miami at Winter Music Conference, where this was also like a week before the World Championships, and I had trained for about 5 months to get ready. And mid WMC, I was just still training. Yeah, for sure.
That's nice, but that's motivation, and that's good to see, and it's fun to see. I see that a lot of people also with you that have something super like besides DJing or producing that is like another drive for them. So it's really motivating to see that you still do that. That's good.
A lot of dedication too, man. Wow.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it's just fun, so it's easy. Speaking about fun, the next question. Who is most likely to fall off stage? What did the crowd say? Ruben Kura. Here we go. Oh, Showtek. Wow. Okay, so the crowd said number 4, Kura. Number 3, Danny. Number 2, Laidback, Luke. I don't know why. But number 1, again, Showtek, taking the
got a winner. Even though I've fell off stage a lot of times, even though I've done it many times.
Okay, I wanna hear about that, but first, Sjoerd.
You know what's funny? I'm not really sure which show it was, but you know how in front of the stage there's always like the speakers that point to the crowd, and at one point I was like so hyped and like so like same as Danny has, when the crowd gives you the credit, the energy, you just like take it in, and there's like this, you just do things. So I jumped off stage on the speakers And I was like partying. And I turned around. I was like, huh? How do I get back? It was at least 2.5, 3 meters. And I don't know how I did it. So I was just standing there like 3 meters high. And I had no idea how to do it. So they had to make like a little like they had to catch me from security guards. I had to get back down. I didn't know how to do it. But I only fell once or twice during performances, but nothing really bad. But yeah, I mean, I'm also on the front of the stage a lot, so it kind of makes sense that people think I would do something stupid. Yeah.
Danny, we want to hear about you doing something stupid. Which was the worst?
I can remember 2 of them. I'll try to be quite fast. The first one was at Webster Hall in New York, and there was this gap that was between like the stage and like the fence where the first row of the crowd is. But it was kind of dark, so I didn't really pay attention, and I didn't know there was a gap. So I went to stage dive to jump into the crowd, but I didn't see the gap. So I kind of like jumped on that last step. You're gonna like put pressure and just jump, but I put it on the gap. So you guys can imagine how hard I fell right on the floor. That was horrible, but the video is so funny. And then the next one, man, was in Mexico, and there was again a little gap between the desk and the speakers and monitors. That was on the second track of the set, right? So I jammed on the decks and I literally put my foot on the gap again with such bad luck that the cable of the mixer went across my foot. So the whole sound just completely off, right? For about 5-10 minutes. And oh my God, there's a video on YouTube. I'll send you guys too, man. That was...
Oh man, we gotta link them all below. That's amazing.
That was a hardcore one, man.
Kura, you don't mind jumping off the DJ booth either, huh? Any bad falls or anything?
A couple, like some bruises here and there, but one time the stage was like a junction of various like small stages, you know, those like when they group everything, and one of them was not properly stretched out. So when I jumped in it, when I landed, it like the two mini stages fell down. So it wasn't actually the one on the mixer, but the one on the back. So it went like this, and I disappeared completely from stage.
Oh!
It wasn't too high. It was like 1 meter, one in something, but still make loud noise. But the stage itself, like the booth, was okay. The back one was the one that collapsed. I didn't get hurt actually, but it was.
When that happens, it takes you 1 second to disappear, right? You're like, oh.
Crazy, because I was all red, like ashamed, don't do this anymore.
Yeah, and then you still need to play for like 45 minutes or whatever. It's like
going in like this, slowly.
Oh, these are amazing. Let me get one more question here. Okay, so who is most likely to become a famous rapper or singer? Hey, you guys haven't put me on anything, right? I haven't seen my name pop up.
You know what? I go for Luke, man.
All right.
And you know why I put your name on, Luke?
Why?
I think you're gonna be a famous movie star doing some big kung fu scene somewhere. So that's why I put your name on.
All right. So the crowd said number 4 Kura, number 3 Showtek, number 2 Danny, and number 1. Yeah. It's interesting because I was prepping for this, and I just reminded me. Oh no! So yeah, it just reminded me of my career in the ultimate DJ boy band. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the video, but it's kind of like Don Diablo and I and 2 other guys being in a DJ boy band. I'm not side-eyeing Danny here at all, speaking about DJ boy band, but like we performed at a very big show in the Netherlands, a morning show for housewives and housemen sitting at home in the morning, and I was the singer. I can't.
You're the singer.
Yeah. I was doing it playback, but and I really can't sing for the life of me.
What show was this? What TV show was this?
Was it something like, what was it back in the day, like RTL 4 in the morning, or I got
Coffee Tide.
Coffee Tide. I think it was Coffee Tide. It was crazy.
Coffee time.
Yeah,
Coffee
yeah,
time.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you don't know it, be sure to look it up. It's hilarious. Don Diablo is the rapper of the band, so him and I go back and forth.
Even though we didn't know, I voted for you, bro. So
That's amazing. So
That's
I do have some follow-up questions for this. So has any of you used your own voice in a song? And which song? Go ahead.
Not rapping, but a lot of the one-liners that we use in our songs is me. I mean, there's a few. Get Loose, for example, with Noise Controllers, which was on Skrillex label as well. I do a lot of the one-liners because I thought it was cool. Also, because if I do them on stage, there's like a connection between me doing them and people hearing it in the tracks. I'm not doing it all the time, but there's definitely a few songs where I did it. But definitely not singing, guys. I can't sing. No.
it's funny, bro, because I asked you once, right when it came out, when Get Loose came out, you told me, yo, I did the voice thing, and I was like, damn. I remember you told me like such a long time ago.
Oh, really? Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a couple of them. Yeah, that's cool.
I used to love that record. I've done it. I think the last track I did was it's called Good Times on Musical Freedom. It has the typical Good Times sample. And I did a couple of sort of just things on top, not like an actual vocal, but a couple of sort of ad-libs and things like that. Nothing that you can really recognize because I'm not a good singer at all. But so yeah.
And you, Kura?
The Lambo track, it's me.
Oh, that's you. Wow.
Oh,
Heavily modified, of course. But it's like because we're always trying to find those quick vocals on the sample packs and splice and everything because we want to have something quick to play and then everybody can have it and it's not unique. So I just said I'm just gonna mumble rap on this shit and let's see what it.
Okay, so now you're on the spot, Kura. Do the rap for us for people. Who
No, I can't. No, it's no, I can't do it.
What was it again? Sit in my Lambo. Hit the Lambo.
Something like that, yeah. No, it was like even for me when I was recording it, I was like feeling so cringy. It was like I was like all red of so it's crazy even talking about it. But I mean, in the end, it worked. So yeah, who cares? But because I didn't have the time to ask a singer to sing on it, and I just wanted to be like a kind of a quirky record, like fun and cool, and I just had the lyrics standing in my head, and I just said, let's record it, and heavily modified it, of course. And it's there.
I have this one. Move the house, break the house down.
That's a good one.
That's me.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's my voice. And so Showtek, Wouter, I know Wouter told me he listens and makes a lot of hip hop. And do you have that hip hop background as well?
Well, and it's funny, it's really like when I grew up Wouter was always the older brother, right? So as an older brother, you always kind of like fall into the footsteps of your older brother when you're younger. So when he, said, "Oh, I like basketball," like, okay, I'll try it out too. So a lot of things that I like now were introduced to me from Wouter, my brother. But when he grew up, he was a huge, crazy hip hop fan. I'm talking about listening to every day Wu-Tang, like Biggie, Tupac. And his whole room was full of Wu-Tang posters, Wu-Tang stars. When you put the lights off, it was like reflecting on the ceiling. So he grew up with hip hop a lot, and he's very into it still. I still like it here and there, but I'm more like a '90s hip hop guy, and the new hip hop is cool. But when I listen, like when I work harder stuff, I put the old hip hop on.
I agree. I'm from that same generation. So, but then, okay. So let's give Wouter a 2020 hip hop artist name. What would you name him?
If we give Wouter a hip hop name?
Yeah, Lil Wouter.
Oh wow, now you got me on the spot, bro. That's a good one because he's pretty sophisticated, right? He tucks his t-shirt sometimes in his pants, and so he's a little like I don't know. He's very specific the way he dresses and the way he acts with he's got long, dirty hair. So it's a little like a dirty look, but still sophisticated. I don't know. Like that would be a good one.
Because
what would you give?
If it
would
would
you
be
say?
dirty, it would be Dawouter, and if it would be more along clothing line, it would be Waunier.
Waunier.
Waunier West, nee.
Waunier West.
Okay, now we're getting into the bad jokes here. I have a question. Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna turn it a little bit serious here because of the bad jokes. Jake Dial is asking us, what are the next music trends? What do you guys think?
I think melodic techno is taking a big journey now. To be honest, I see it coming in quite hype.
Do you have any artists you can highlight there?
Actually, there's two guys. They're from Spain. They're called Prophecy. They made some really cool stuff actually. On that genre. But I think it's becoming quite popular at the moment.
Elderbrook also, right? I would say Elderbrook is really cool. Even you can consider maybe like Camel Fat on that genre, maybe some of the tracks,
A
right?
little bit, yeah, a little bit.
I would say that's growing for sure.
That's really good to hear. What do you think?
What do you think, Luke, about that?
Yeah, I mean, I hear that. I've seen it popping up for sure. Obviously, right now the whole streaming sound is hot with the slap house bass line kind of deal.
Yeah, I think there's two genres that took my attention lately. It's first of all, I've seen techno becoming more popular on Beatport and also on Spotify. If you look at some like artists, like some of the streaming on techno went quite up, and I think, like you said, melodic techno is going to be popular. It could be. I'm not listening that much to it, but I just think that. Especially now in quarantine, people just have more time to do things and stuff. I think people listen also to other stuff. And I think what we were saying before, like techno and longer music and more build-ups are becoming more popular. And also it's more like what I found, it's more like, how you call that? It's like almost like the chill hop, like it's very like very weird flume kind of hip hop. This is just like chill out music, and it's very relaxing. I've been listening to a lot, and those streams have been going up as well. But at the end of the story, I think if you look at what's going popular, you're already almost too late as an artist if you're going to jump on that bandwagon. So I think it's super important that you just, and especially now, my brother and I are working like on an album for next year, and we really said to each other, let's just do what comes up in our head right now, because there's no shows, there's no pressure, we don't know what's going to happen. So this is almost like a big reset button for not for the entire planet, but also for the entire music industry. When we all come out of this, we have a chance as artists to do something totally new and almost get away with it in a good way, because we have time to reinvent ourselves. And I think it's really cool. And I think like we have so many different songs that we want to come out with, and some are more like super chill, some more techno orientated. Some are still like really typical Showtek, like like big. And I think all of us are, and as you were saying earlier, we have time to really just be productive right now. So hopefully we all, in like a year, if we do this interview again, we laugh at it and we all did something new. We can say, this is what was new.
Like a musical vacation, right? Kind of.
Yeah, and I think everybody who I speak to needs it. It's really funny, but everybody I speak to from an artist perspective almost needed it.
I think everybody was a bit lost before all of this. Everybody was a bit lost of what are we going to play right now? What's popping, Because sometimes I felt like when I played in a bigger festival, like for bigger crowds, I had to resource myself to older tracks that I knew that were going to do good on the dance floor. And then there was nothing like that secret weapon that we had back then, the fresh stuff that we had. Like those good tracks, during the trending like EDM sound that maybe like a couple of DJs had it. At this time before the quarantine, we don't have that anymore. It's just the music was not up to par in terms of quality. I mean, globally, not only me or everybody was not making like the super cool stuff, and the tech house was coming up. It was a big mess. I think this is going to be good to do exactly a reset, and maybe we have the responsibility to create something, big again. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I also look at it like, if you look at all the rivers in the world right now and the oceans and the water, everything is getting more clear. To me, that's a big reflection of how your mind can be as well. Like everything is clearing up. So you have the time, and basically Earth is giving us an opportunity to do something new, and that can be very good for next decade, So even though it's a very depressing time for a lot of people, I think the challenge here is like to just really like take this moment and really realize, okay, now I have no excuse. Now we can really like take our time to do something new, and even be a trend yourself. It's like, of course, there will always be a trend or a genre that's popping or doing well, and that's like people follow that. But now, if you come out with some music like later on this year or next year, you have a story to tell, and I think that's the opportunity that every artist has in their own way. And I think also people, when the engine starts rolling again, people will understand because everybody went through the same thing. So I think even though there's really bad times, in every bad situation, there's always something positive. And everybody's looking for that positive. And not only this conversation and my friends and my family, everybody's doing something to, when we all get back together, we have something that's going to carry us for another few years. And I think it's a challenge.
Like there's not that much pressure at the moment compared to the times before, right? Because before, we're always on the go. We're always thinking about, okay, how much time do I have to finish this? When's the next one going to come? How much time do I have to finish that or to send it to this other guy? But right now, I don't feel that pressure anymore.
I want to ask you a question to all of you guys. How do you feel about this? Because I've been asked this, and it got me thinking, like, what do you feel about artists that are not releasing music during this quarantine time? There are a lot of artists that just don't release music anymore. What do you feel?
I think it depends on the strategy they got. Maybe some artists are just trying to put out, depends on the artist, right? But I think they're trying to put out maybe the stronger records when this whole thing stops. Mm-hmm. Some people, just want to maybe perhaps think about it a little better. I see a lot of artists putting out a lot of music. So I think it depends on what you got in your mind, your strategy, your goal. And maybe for some artists, it works. Maybe take a break and come out with stronger records and not kind of like waste them at the moment. Perhaps for other artists, it works to put out a bunch of music. So when this whole thing ends, they are in a little better position. But I think it depends what you're trying to achieve and what you got, in your own studio, let's say,
I agree.
What about you?
Well,
what are you doing?
This is well said, Danny. I hear that. I see that as well. For me, I just love making music. Really, I've been fantasizing about the times that it's going to open up again, and if I can take the 1918 pandemic and the Roaring '20s after that, doing a little math. So in our time, this would be around 2024, where people en masse will go out and party like maniacs, which is obviously is a couple of years still. But I can't help thinking about that. And I need to be very honest with you. Still, every 2 nights, I wake up with this dream that I was about to perform at a show. Some kind of show somewhere, walking through the crowd, going onto the decks, plugging my USB in. And I can't help it. I keep on having those dreams. So I am kind of stuck in the old world, and I'm still making music almost as if I'm in the old world. But I can't seem to shake it. I love it and I miss it. And
but there's also nothing wrong with that, is it?
Yeah.
So
it's interesting, and I think all of us deal with it in a different way, right?
Exactly.
I think everybody has a different way to keep the train going, right? And like my brother and I are actually working on like a lot of tracks, so we kind of like have more a strategy of like, okay, hopefully next year things are moving a bit better again. So let's like be a little more strategic with releasing songs, because if we release like, even the thing right now to me is that if you release a really big club banger, say it's like a really, for us, a typical Showtek festival banger, like to me, people, when you perform, you give them the experience of the song while they are out. To release a banger like that or a song like that while people don't have to chant, the opportunity to feel that vibe and to really live that song when they're sharing that with thousands of others. That's when a song grows to you. So, for example, when Satisfaction came out, you know, and the first time you heard it on the rave, that was when the song it was like, oh my God, what's this? If you hear it on like the radio, I'm like, oh, cool, you know, but because you have that momentum of where you hear that song, that's why you go online and you look at it for the next day. Oh, what's the song with this vocal? And that's how songs grow. But we don't have the playground right now to do that. So with that kind of thing going on, it's for us, we're like, okay, how much does it make sense to really release like music like that? Maybe we just are a little bit going to the left and more music that's easy to stream and play, and you know, but everybody has just their own way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's a good point.
Very good point. So to round this off, I have two more polls for you. So the question: who is most likely to spend a night in jail?
Oh boy.
Oh wow! Well, it's definitely not Laidback, Luke.
Why is that, brother? Why is that?
Because you're the youngest.
Oh,
Well, you know what?
oh, okay. We might be onto something here. Okay, the crowd said number 4, Laidback Luke. Number 3, Kura. Number 2, Danny. And number 1, it's Showtek.
Guys, I'm not a criminal.
Guys, I'm not a criminal.
That's that. You know, this is funny. People judge because just of the beard. Crazy. How can a beard have so
You're
much?
judging the opposite, brother. Just right, like completely the opposite.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I'm like, I look very aggressive. People always think like, oh, you know, like he's like, I'm like super laid back. I'm like the last person who would knock somebody's teeth out. Like, I'm not. I don't like aggressive confrontation at all. I mean, I know how to fight. I do boxing and jiu-jitsu and stuff. So, but it's just more for hobby. But I don't like that aggression. So, like, well, my fiance, she's a little blonde, little cute girl, but she has the fire of like 5 times me, and she's more a dangerous person while she looks super cute. So you can never judge a book on its cover. Never.
There we go.
That's a good point. Well, actually, I do want to judge Danny then right now, because all of us, including me in my head, I guess, we said Danny. So Danny, what would be your crime?
My crime, let me think about it, man. Well, I think right now, I've been having a hard time without actually DJing, you know, so I've been kind of like getting my friends together at my place and just doing like some small, you know, for a couple people, long DJ sets. But the problem is that the neighbors always call the cops, right? So the cops are quite friendly with my place at the moment. So they come to visit it, you know, once in a while. So that would be my crime at the moment, I would say.
Okay, we will definitely need to keep your address a secret for all the people to not come.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, if DJing is a crime, right? Well, I guess, yeah.
No, I mean, you know, now they complain about the music, and in Spain, it's quite difficult at the moment. So once you're more than 5 people, they already complain. So, you know, gotta be a bit careful right now.
You know what the fine is here in Canada? I'm in Canada right now. If you go into a house party and you are fined $10,000 each person in a house. So when I went to Canada, this is a really funny story. I went to Canada to see my fiance. I didn't see her for 5 months because we're separated. Borders were closed. She was in the US, so we had to meet somewhere we could be together with her family. So I'm actually staying with her parents. So I came at the border. I had to sign a document that if I leave my house during quarantine, I have a $750,000 fine or 3 months in jail. And I was like, what's going to happen? I'm going to walk the dog. 2 days after, tock, 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 tock. It's like, why does the neighbor knock so hard on the door? I'm not going out because I was staying in their parents' apartment. It's like, whatever. My phone rings 2 minutes later. Guys, the cops are downstairs. You have to do a passport control, quarantine control. Open the door. So open the door. Cops came. I have to show my passport, tell them like how long I was staying, and they told me you have to stay in the house until 12 Friday next week, and we do random checks. So I was like, oh my God. So in Canada, that would never happen to me.
Is that when you enter Canada? Like right when you enter?
Yeah, when you enter Canada, the fine is $750,000 if you break the quarantine rule.
Yeah, when I got to Taiwan, I had to do the same thing. It was obviously a 2-week quarantine, quite strict. And we had a police come and check every day. And we had cameras on the door. So if we would get out of the house, they would see it right away. So there was no way to get out. And it was, I think, a $50,000 fine per person. And we were 3 of us.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they were pretty strict on that.
Interesting. I didn't expect that from Canada. And I traveled to the Netherlands after 5.5 months. And the Netherlands is so liberal about it. You know, stepping into the Netherlands, they said, oh, sir, there was a guy from the fire department. He looked at my passport and he said, you know about how do you say that in English? It's kind of like the necessary quarantine, where it's like you are aware of that. And it's like, it's not even like an obligation or you won't get fined. It's like you still have the choice if you can do it or not. But I didn't.
Not mandatory, yeah?
Not mandatory. Yeah, that's exactly what they said. Yeah, you know about the not mandatory quarantine. I was like, yeah, of course. And that's it.
And you can't even go to the supermarket here. You have to have somebody bring you groceries and you have to show them. And they even called her parents to double check before I passed the border. It took me 2 hours to get in. And they called her like, okay, sir, you know that you can stay together. Do you have another house where you can stay? Like they were on top of it.
During the quarantine, right?
Yeah. But even now, like when they made the rules stricter again, now you can be in more than a house than more than 6 or 8 people. And if you do, and they have the law to come in and they find more people, everybody gets fined $10,000.
Oof. Wow.
So no illegal house parties, guys.
Not in Canada.
Not here.
In Canada. Come to Spain. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so last question of this episode. Speaking about girlfriends and whatnot, who is the most likely to get married first? And I can't be in this question because people know I'm married 3 times already. So I'm out. So who's likely to get married first?
Based on information we acquired today.
Hey.
Well, brother, you got them all.
Beep, beep, beep. Hey. Yeah, so obviously I'm asking this question because Afrojack married this year. I married again this year. Tiesto got married. So the crowd said number 3, Showtek, number 2, Danny, and number 1, Kura. So I don't know if you're engaged right now, Kura. What's going on?
I mean, I'm in a relationship, but it's not. We haven't spoken about it yet, so we're still far away from that.
You know, you just broke a lot of hearts right now, saying you are in a relationship.
No, but it's something that we because we met a little bit before of the pandemic, so we hadn't have enough time to enjoy life outside of our routines. So we want to do that first. It was a big test to live with somebody this time, so we got along perfectly. So that's a good sign. First test is done, and then we have to live. We have to enjoy life a little bit, and then we'll think about it. But it's not on the top of the list. I mean, because actually, I don't know about you guys. I definitely I know that you guys value the commitment of marriage. But for me, at this point, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but for me personally, it would be more like a family party. That's the concept that I'm viewing at the moment. My understanding of the marriage is like a family gathering and celebration. Because I might change my opinion later because we are always growing. But that's my understanding of marriage for me right now. It's a celebration between us and our families together only. So,
yeah. I do want to get married eventually. I'm just not quite ready at the moment. Let's put it that way.
Sure, you seem ready.
No, I'm curious because I was supposed to get married this year, but obviously with the situation, we didn't want to wear a face mask and say.
Oh, you were actually gonna get married this year? Didn't know that.
Yeah, so we had to move it, unfortunately, and when we only invited family and like a few best like long time friends. So super small, like the smallest we could get it because I like privacy a lot. And unfortunately, we had to move it. But I've been engaged for 2 years, and for us, to me personally, it's like the build is nice because you have a relationship, you get to know each other. And then I got engaged, and we said, you know what? I don't want to rush into a wedding. I want to be engaged too because it's almost like a new phase. Why don't we just enjoy it for like 2-3 years, see how it goes? And then we were perfectly fine. So we moved until next year, and we're still engaged right now, which is great. And I want to have a COVID-free wedding and not be worried about restrictions and anything like that. Especially because all of my fiancée, she's Canadian. Her friends are from America, even Australia, and everybody was going to the wedding did not live in one place. So everybody had to fly to the wedding, and a lot of people lost their jobs. And for me, if you go to a wedding, I don't want to put pressure on people. Oh, you have to come. You know, if you fly somewhere, it's going to cost a few $1,000 to take it. You don't want to go in and out the same day. You're going to book a hotel. And some people lost their jobs, and we said, you know what, it's not going to be a fun experience for us to do it. So we'll move it. But I mean, we're both agreeing on moving it is the best for now, and we just keep enjoying the time we're engaged. So all good.
Was it supposed to be in Canada?
No, it was supposed to be in France.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
I mean, with the rules we just learned from Canada, it would have not been a very successful wedding in Canada.
No. It would be very, very expensive. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for spending this time. Thank you so much for your positive messages and the fun we had. Thank you for being on this episode. It was great seeing you. And hopefully we'll see each other sooner than later and maybe on the road, right?
I miss you guys.
Stay healthy, stay positive, and we can all hit each other up. In the meantime, if we need some support from each other, that would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Having us, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you, Luke.
Take care.
Take care, guys.
Take care.